Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, go.
We are the nation of domination.
What is up? What is up, Eagles Nation? It's your boy BIRDGANG 31 in the building. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's having a blessed day. Today, I brought on my guy, Chris Franklin from NJ Sports. How you doing today, my guy? How you been?
What's up, BIRDGANG? How you been, man? How's it going?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. It's been a minute since we got on here, but I figure, with open practice yesterday and 2 weeks into training camp, what better guy to get on the show, man?
Wow, I appreciate it, man. It's been an interesting camp. So it's been a lot going on and a lot of things, but it's good back. Football's back. I mean, I think once that Hall of Fame game hit, it's been fun, man. It really set in that, you know what, we're back.
Yeah. And sorry, guys, I am in the house. I'm not in the studio. Internet is down right now. BG's off the phone again, like back in the day. So work with me if anything glitches up or whatnot. Hit that like on the way in. So tell me, how you like training camp so far? Give me your highlights of the training camp so far for yourself.
Well, I think right now when you look at what's going on, I think the key thing was you have nobody's complacent in the terms of just thinking that they're just resting on their laurels from going to the Super Bowl last year and being the NFC champions. One thing that you really hear them talking about is they're actually trying to move on from that they're really grounded, trying to build the base and the building blocks to go ahead and build something new, something lasting when it comes to there. I think in terms of everything that you've seen when it comes to the offense, and you look at the offense, and they're clicking all cylinders. Defense, they're still getting acclimated to Sean Desai's system, but overall, it's been pretty good. There's been some standouts, some guys that still has some work to do, but it's been a good start for them.
So far with Desai, what have you seen from this guy? Like, what kind of defense are you looking at the Eagles bringing this year?
I think you'll see something similar to what you saw last year with Gannon. A lot of the relying on your front four, front five, and then letting everything play out back there, not allowing big plays. I do think you're going to see a couple new wrinkles in terms of how they may rush, how they may try to drop back. It's a lot of man match. So basically, it's a lot of. I think of it like a basketball, like the the zone matchup zone, seeing that a little bit too, where everybody dropping back. It's going to takes a lot of communication, takes a lot of feel pre snap and trying to point out who goes where. So it's going to be a lot of. It takes a little bit to get used to. They did some of that last year, but it takes a little bit to get used to, especially the whole different terminology. Almost like learning a whole new language now with the new with the side coming in there. So I see a little bit of the same, but I think you'll see a heavy reliance on this defensive line.
Nice, nice. Oh yeah. And what up, D. Aldrich? How you doing? It is our favorite quarterback's birthday. Shout out to Jalen freaking Hurts, 25 years old today. Happy birthday, Hurts. How you doing today, my guy? Tell me about Jalen Hurts. Every single time we talk about it, I tell you how he's great. That's my guy. And over the last couple of years, you're starting to see that he is that dude. Tell me, have your opinion on Jalen changed since the first episode, since we first started talking about him?
I think it's still the same. I think you still see the continued growth. I mean, that's the main thing you want a quarterback, especially this young. And scary thing is you can still get better. I mean, well, how many times when it comes to a quarterback, that third year they're in the system, that's where you really want to see them excel and get to their peak. And we saw what he was able to do last season, and he's not even at his. I can't remember Dragon Ball Z. I never really watched. I know it's sacrilege, but he hasn't reached his final form yet. You ever see that
Right.
last section where you know where he's gonna where you see that too? He's still maturing as a passer. The one thing I really like about Brian Johnson still remaining as the OC and the system as a whole and Sirianni brought in, he's getting used to it, it's adapted to his strengths, and he's been in the same system now. So the fact that he's anticipating where these receivers are going to be. He has the chemistry with AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, Quez Watkins. He knows where to put the ball with those guys and pin them around things. And he's finding the soft spots in the zones, and he's doing a good job at it. I've been really impressed when it comes to the sideline throws. When you see the way that the comeback route, especially near a pylon, sideline, what have you, he's placing those balls in the right position, in a good position for those guys to shield their bodies, make the catches, and get the toe taps in. He's done a really good job at that. So I think overall, I mean, the fact that he hasn't thrown an interception I believe last Thursday was, Thursday or Friday, I forget which one day it was, but in fact that was his first time, and he was like he was just throwing it just to try something now and that one too. I think that's a good sign. He's taking care of the ball. So overall, he's had a really good camp.
Yeah, he got paid this off season. You see all the list out there. Jalen Hurts is number one. Jalen Hurts number four. Jalen Hurts still 15. Jalen Hurts is 10. Where is Jalen Hurts in terms of quarterbacks in the NFL with you, Chris?
Pick Mahomes 1, Burrow 2. See Herbert, I can't put it. I know Herbert puts a lot of numbers, but he hasn't done anything in the playoffs, in my opinion. So I want to. So I think I go Josh Allen 3, Hurts 4. I probably for a fourth. I think he's that
Okay.
is good. He has a chance to move up. If Allen falters in the playoffs again and Hurts makes his way up to another title game or a Super Bowl, I think Hurts supplants him. I think you're looking at three. I think you're really looking at when three quarterbacks, a 3 quarterback race for MVP when the season's going to be in. I think the finals are going to be Mahomes, Hurts, and Burrow. I think you'll see those three being on one. So he's up there. I mean, it's a long way from the Chris Sims of the world. We're saying he's not even in the top 40. To last
Yeah.
year, people thinking like, okay, he's middling. Now he's the top 5 quarterback. It's top 5 quarterback that he should be, or at least, or most lists say. I know some people go 6th, 7th, and get the buzz going, but yeah, he's top
Now, you
5
know where
quarterback in
I
this league
got
right
him.
now.
You know where I
I know
got him.
you got
Number
one.
one. He's number one. There's no better quarterback. He's the first true. Listen, the first true triple threat quarterback in the league, as he says. He's a rare company. Usually they don't have triple threat. They have dual threat quarterbacks. But like he said, being able to use his mind, like you said, he don't turn over the ball like that. He's not throwing picks all over the place. He's very cerebral when it comes to the football game. That makes another level because usually guys of his type of abilities, usually that's where they mess up at. They throw a lot of picks or, what I'm saying, they have a lot of turnovers with their game when they're playing at a high level. So I think he's the first triple threat quarterback out there. And I think he's the best. I love Patty Mahomes and what he does. We know what Patty Mahomes is going to do. He's going to bring you some of the best, jungle football out there, you know. But I say Patty Mahomes 1B. I give him the 1B, but I still think Jalen Hurts is the best. You know why? Because we've seen Patty for years do this, right? Every year, like you said, Jalen Hurts is getting better. He's only 25 years old. He hasn't even hit his prime yet, his peak of what he can do, and it's already that scary. A runner-up in MVP, all pro, second in the second year start, and like what else is there for him to accomplish in such an early age? You know what I'm saying? So I think he's the best. Moving forward, looking like going into this season, looking forward, he's the best quarterback. If he goes in there and bums this year, then I guess you have to bring him back down to life. But I don't see that happening. I see him getting a little bit better and better, like you said, every single year he plays. And what's better than his numbers last year? He's number one in the pocket. In a lot of position, in a lot of categories. Number one in the pocket. He had rushing yards, he has rushing touchdowns, he had passing touchdowns this last year. So he went to the Super Bowl and was a drive away from winning the Super Bowl in his second year. So what more does he have to prove? If he gets any better at anything, it feels like that it's like kind of unfair that you even a judge. Because even like the Allens, the Patty Mahomes and the Burrows, those guys, they might put up a little bit more passing yards because they throw the football a little bit more than he does. But in terms of efficiency, yards per play, explosive plays, Jalen beats him in those categories, which to me gives him the edge because none of those guys got 700 yards rushing or double-digit touchdowns running the football. And I know you say that's not a quarterback sack, but he is our quarterback, so you got to add it in there.
So one thing I think if anything we see a difference in last year, I think it'd be a tap in few more rushing yards, and those goes over to the passing yards because I think just that's sheer fact because I don't teams aren't going to blitz them. I don't think they're going to blitz them. Even if they try to get the ball out of their hand, you adjust it, you run the risk of him eluding that and get that. So I think they're going to play. I wouldn't be surprised if they start trying to mush rush him a little bit more. Try to keep in the pocket, and he's proven that he's been able to to find those receivers and find those soft spots and zones if they're playing that. So I think if anything, I think you'll see a few more passing yards as opposed to the rushing yards. But that's the sign of another sign of the quarterback maturing. He's not taking as many hits. He's finding he's got a good feel for the offense. He's going through his progressions.
Nice. Let's keep it on this offensive side for one day because I can talk about Jalen all show long. You know what I'm saying? You heard the story all story long, and I'll keep telling you why he's the best. But let's talk about the new running backs in the room. Swift, Penny. Gainwell's looking good out there. How these running backs looking? And tell me what you think we should be excited to see about Swift in particular.
I'll tell you what, this when it comes down to cut down day, it's going to be one of these guys are going to be on somebody else's roster because it's a deep position, and there hasn't been really a misstep made by any of these guys. They all know what's at stake here. So I look overall. I'll start with Swift. Swift, I probably say it will be the safest. It's the safest to say Swift's going to be on the team this year. I look at the way his running back, the dimension that he's changed the most in this offense that I think we'll see a difference from when Sanders was here is when his ability to catch the ball at the backfield. I look at the way I think that just opens up a lot more stuff for for the other receivers because how many times do we see Miles Sanders go out to the flat area? I know they have some I know there's some routes they run just to get more spacing. They just had a running back stand out there. Now you gotta respect it now because now if you're a corner and you're playing that flat area, you got to respect that because Swift can get that, make one man miss. Next you know, you're 10, 20 yards down the field. And he can run. I look at his route running and his crisp well, too. We all know Nick Sirianni likes his routes run a particular way, so he's getting a little adjustment of that. But I like once he gets that down as well, too, like not just the little swing flare pass, when he gets the other routes going, it's going to be really good. So I like what I've seen from him so far. I look at Penny, I see a guy, especially when they run that stretch play. If you get him running the left stretch play, you have Landon Dickerson and Jordan Mailata out there. I think that could be a very, very successful play by how he just stretches, plants his foot, and then inside and does that stuff like that. Gainwell is still improving as well too. I've seen this. To me, I've seen the same version that you saw in the playoffs last year, with a guy who was feeling confident, really in the system, really decisive in what hole he was going to get, and then making plays that way too. I think he's still going to be that Naeem Hines third down back type. Boston Scott's still doing Boston Scott things. He's doing well as well too. I'm forgetting somebody.
Penny.
Penny, yeah, Penny, yeah, Penny was a stretch play.
I heard some stuff about Trey too.
Oh, Trey Sermon, I apologize. Yeah, I've heard that. Trey, and I thought that was a telling thing, especially last year. I know he only had the two carries for 19 yards. He dressed for 2 games. But the fact they had other moves they had to make, and they made sure to keep him on the roster all season. And I really think it could. I would not be surprised. I think it'll end. You'll see Penny on his roster, but given the way that Trey Sermon has run, that power element that he brings as well too, and he says, "Oh, I asked him last week. Hey, what do you think of that? He's like underrated values to him is his pass catching." I could see I could see a scenario. I don't think it's what happened, but I could see a scenario where somehow Sherman makes it, and then maybe they try to get something for a penny. Maybe they try to do something else. But this competition, these preseason games are going to go and the joint practices especially are going to go a long way determining which four running back. I don't see them carrying five because they have other needs elsewhere, but it's going to go a long way determining who's going to be on this roster.
So I think everybody's expecting Penny, Swift, Gainwell, Scott. Right? That's what pretty
That's the
much.
chalk one.
That's
That's the chalk one.
for me. It's like, what about Boston in terms of like? I know we love Boston Scott and whatnot, but do you think a Sermon could, edge out of Boston Scott or something like that?
See, I think Scott's role as a kickoff return. I know they made the changes to the rules and it's the fair catch, I think, but I think they like that threat of him running, getting a gain of speed, making a couple cuts, and he did well in the second half of last season.
Yeah.
The reason why I put Penny on there is because the vested veteran. If you're on the vested veteran, you're on the roster week one, they guarantee your contract. I know it's a cheap contract. It's like $500,000. It's not that much. Maybe this is one of the things where they say, hey, you know what? You cut him and then try to bring him back on week two, so it's like he's not guaranteed. I think when you look at what those two backs are similar in that way. I think somehow and they love him in this organization with Scott too. I think it's gonna be top those four. I'd be shocked if they carry five. You can make an argument for carrying five, but you're taking away from somewhere else. So it's a tough position to chart out right now.
Let's go over to the receivers. We know about AJ, Smitty. How are these guys looking out there? Do you think that they can even hit another level this year, which would be amazing for us since they both broke, one broke the yards record for the Eagles, one broke the reception record for the Eagles last year, to come into the second year together as a duo. How good can these guys be?
I think this is a year we finally see Devontae Smith being named a Pro Bowler. I think he's that good. I mean, we all need to see his ability to create separation when it's not there. We all seen the spectacular highlight catches he made. AJ Brown still playing highly. You know what you got there as well. Two Eagles wide receiver Pro Bowlers. I don't know. I just think there's going to be more teams trying to go all out, try to stop AJ Brown more, which is opens up more stuff when it comes to Smith. I mean, they'll get and they're each get their touches. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think they'll be very similar in targets as well too. I think those things. Quez, I think it's going to be more your downfield back. He has to. I think if he catches half of those 50-50 balls downfield, I think that's all you need him to do, just to be that threat to put on the safeties and go, oh man, Quez is coming out this way. Like you got to worry about, okay, I see Smith, I see Brown, or even if Smith and Brown are lined up on the same side, and you got to roll a safety, like we're not going to beat him. If Quez is on the back end, especially in the slot back end, he starts making teams pay. You can't do that. You can't roll that safety over as much. You got to respect it. The one guy I want to see more, especially during training camp and with terms of consistency, is Olamide Zaccheaus. I see him on the inside, and it's a matter of it's like he's fighting the ball sometimes. He's dropped even in individual drills. He's dropped a few catchable balls, and then or he's double catching them. So it's like he's almost fighting when he's catching. I just want to see him relax. I know probably there's a lot of pressure. Like I gotta feel like I gotta do my part. I gotta do my part. And it's not. I don't know if he's thinking more. Or he's not letting that natural ability come to him. But he's a guy I want to see more consistency on that. And then after that, I think Cubby makes the roster punt returner on that part. You got a lot of. They let go of Rambo, but I've been impressed dark side wise. Joseph Nada. I look at him, bigger type receiver. He can get the inside when he runs those slants, digs on inside. He's got the big body to shield it from the smaller defensive back. So I like that. And I just want him to see upright so he's not slipping around. I think he can get some more yards after the catch. So those are I don't see Nada making the 53 man, but I think he's definitely a candidate for the practice squad and somebody will definitely want to keep developing.
Nice. Let's go tight ends. Dallas Goedert, would he hit that 1,000-yard mark this year?
If I had to say, I think it might be like something tantalizing close. Like I see him like 895, 905. And he's just going like, oh God, what do I got to do to go ahead and get to do that? But I think he's going to have it. He's going to have his chances. I mean, especially when we've seen the yards after the catch he's able to do. And we saw him trying to get a few more tight end screens to his way. And to be honest, he's dropped a couple makeable things. It's just, if he cleans up with some parts of there, like during his camp, he's been really good. I mean, that's been one of Hurts' main targets throughout camp. He's looked really sharp. He's catching everything his way. Last year was like the some of those easy screens he was dropping, stuff like that. So if he plays the way he's doing in camp, I've liked the way he's played so far. If he just continues to do what he's doing in camp, he'll have a severe chance. It just seems like it's gonna be one of those years where he's gonna be so close to like, oh man, he just got so close to that. I was like, oh, he missed it.
He's
But
almost there. Who's looking like they're leading for the backup role? We heard some Jackson looking good. We heard about Stahl. He is more of the blocking second tight end that we got. And then you still got Calcaterra. Dan Arnold came over from Jacksonville. What's that second and third tight end spot looking like?
personally, I think Stoll has that locked. To me, I think Stoll has that locked up because when you look at everybody they have in that position, they don't truly have a real blocking tight end. Like your best blocking tight end probably is Goddard, but you don't want to keep him in there all the time on blocking, as we all know his ability as a receiver. So if they go 12 personnel with those two tight ends, I can see it being Stoll being the other guy. The third one to me is where you have, and I know it's the most boring part when you're looking at a tight end thing because you're like, I want to see him make it a catch. Is blocking. That's what I think it is because you look at Arnold, he's not known as a blocking tight end. He can run his routes and does well. Calcaterra can run his routes and do it well. Tyree Jackson in the back of the end zone when he's not hurt. That's unfortunate. I think the injuries for him is injuries. If he's not hurt, he can run it very well. But the thing to knock on all three of them is their blocking. And I talked to Calcaterra. He focused on it in the offseason. When you look at Arnold, we haven't talked to Arnold yet, but you see them. When you look at those three guys, the person who's the better blocker out of that thing is going to make that roster as the third guy. I really believe it because they all can catch. No matter when they're doing that rugby scrum, see how well you do it.
Yeah, they all can catch, and I wanted to see Jackson, but I just feel like it's been too many years of being hurt. Like how many more years you're gonna be hurt, and we gotta talk about you. You have a couple of nice catches. We're like, oh, you could possibly be somebody. So it's like I'm kind of like unless he balls out this, preseason, rest of training camp. I think he needs to go. Calcaterra is another young guy. Like I said, he reminds me of kind of like a Dallas Goedert, maybe Zach Ertz type guy. Where like you say, he might not be able to block, but he looks smooth out there on his pass routes and whatnot. And then like you said, who was the other one again? Arnold.
Arnold.
He played some good football with Jacksonville in terms of being that, receiving tight end over there. He's a veteran, so I think that kind of edges him over a couple of these guys just because he does have experience. He has made plays in the NFL before, and that's kind of a good idea, to keep those type of guys around. But yeah, I see what you're saying with Jack Stahl. I think Stahl, he probably does lock it up being that, blocking tight end that we don't have besides him. Like Goddard is one, but like you said, we don't want to keep using him up. We want him to stay healthy throughout the whole season, not just part of the season. So yeah, that's going to be a nice one to keep looking at. Let's go with the offensive line. I heard that Jurgens is the guy at right guard. Like I said it before, I thought he earned it from playing some last year. He got the red shirt play a little bit last year. I thought he earned it this year for him to get that spot since Kelsey didn't retire. But how is Steen looking?
Steen's, to me, I've seen him more. They've been using him a lot at left tackle lately, which I thought was kind of interesting. It's like, wait a minute, I thought he's your guard of future, but one reason I can see Stalin doing, one thing they really want their backups to do is have that versatility to play both guard, tackle, center sometimes as well too, in case, especially if you're going to be a backup, you need them in there. And the limited time, he's still working his way through. The limited time I've seen some of those route snaps. Granted, he's been going against Milton Williams and going with all those guys. He's gotten beat on the inside a little bit too. It's for him. He's learning his angles. He's learning anchor. But when he gets right, when you see the plays where he knows he gets it right and he does well, you see the power in there, and that's a prototypical thing. I thought it was interesting. I saw some of the good reps that they had, best reps he had. He was working next to Jurgens. When they ran the second team offensive time, they got Jurgens in there running center. And see, basically your future, your offensive line working together. And they did all right. They worked well in tangent. So I think it's him being a rookie. It's him learning the system, learning what he need to do, and getting used to the angles he has to go at. But it's the ways to go, and that's because a rookie.
Stout is an Alabama guy. He used to coach at Alabama, and they wanted him back last year before we gave him the bag. Do you think it'd be easy for him because he kind of already knows the teachings of how Stoutland teaches?
Well, I think overall, it's just Stoutland's a good coach no matter what. I mean, we've seen what he's done. I mean, Coyote Awasika came in out of nowhere, and next thing you know, he's on another roster. They plucked him in. You see, every year it seems like there's about 2 or 3 guys. Jack Anderson, I know he was a veteran, but they brought him in, and next thing you know, he's on the Giants roster or whatever. This always he knows how to develop these guys as well too. He sees the trait, and he's one of those things where you really take traits and then you just build up and work on them as well too. So I think it's just Stoutland as a whole. He is the best offensive line coach in my opinion in the league.
Oh
He
yeah.
gets the most of his players, and the main thing he will yell at you. That's what it is. It's funny. Like, he will yell at you, but he does it. It's like a thing. It's like someone's like saying, "I don't want to do it. It's hurting me more. It's hurting you because I love what you're doing." He's one of those type guys that one too,
Yeah.
but he builds them up as well too. So it's just the teaching he does, and that's what I think is going a long way. So he'll adapt.
What about some of these veterans like Kelsey and Lane? They look like they lost a step, or are they still looking good as always?
They're fine. A lot of times they're managing their snaps because they have this long season ahead. They are a little older. They're older guys, and I mean, there's only so much you can throw at them and see. Basically, a lot of times is like Lane says, is getting your timing down on that drop step before the snap to make sure he's back in there. You get the timing now. So for them, it's just a matter of getting the reps, enough like the mental reps, getting back in shape and getting their techniques down because there's not a defense you can really throw at them and just go like, oh, what's going on here? I don't know what's going on. So yeah, they're still doing fine right now.
Landon,
Oh,
any
Landon,
Ilata?
they're doing all right. Myalata, although I did see Myalata. Now, granted, this last night in the open practice, the offense had their worst. That to me, that offense had their worst practice. It was sluggish, and they were going a lot of base stuff because last thing you want to do is like, all right, hello world, this is the offense we're going to run. Let's run everything. But
Right.
Sweat got the best of them last. Sweat had a few rushes last night that really got to him, but that was probably like like he's had his moments there, so he'll be fine. This is one of the things like I think it was a sluggish and more of a credit to Sweat because Sweat was looking good then. But yeah, that left side is still doing well. Obviously, they got a chemistry there because they're best friends and they're best men in each other's way. So they got the chemistry and they can be frank with each other. But yeah, sorry.
Nice. Let's go to that defense side of the ball. We got some Philly dogs on that side of the ball, man. Let's go straight to the draft. How are our 2 first-round picks looking in camp right now? I know Nolan Smith up here has just been tearing it up, been doing his thing. I think he might be, the biggest impact out of the two in the first year. But what are you seeing out there at practice?
I think Carter is still in the rookie mode of getting used to everything and adjusting to that. And it's almost like he's thinking the things through. And so it's like when you're thinking things through, like you go that step slower, you're not able to get the impact and move in. So once he gets used to things, once he gets used to the NFL routines, once he gets used to that, then I think you'll start to see it become second nature, and then get that a better push on the inside in terms of that. Smith has been the better of the two of the first round picks because I like the way they've used him in different spots. They've used him as a regular Sam, like the Hassan Reddick. They use a regular defensive end, Ryan on the right side. He's lined up at both sides. They even had him lined up as off the ball linebacker. And a couple practices, I was like, something didn't think that was going to be him back there next to this Elsa. That like, yeah, they were running him as in that. They're using him in different spots, and he's done well. I really like his first step, and I know when it comes to you want to see the sacks and everything else, but one thing that really, really impressed me was his ability in the run defense. I mean, there was a play where I believe it was Gainwell Penny. They were running on the outside, and he did a really good job of making sure that the offensive lineman didn't get on his inside, push him out completely. He kept stretching out the play until he got all those interior guys to come out and help support and pursue, which I thought was really good, especially for a rookie. Like,
Yeah.
all right, he's playing really well on that one too. So I think you'll see good things out. I think you see early on with Smith. It's a matter of just not flashing everything too early, and then it's like, all right, where's the rest? Because we all know they're going to hit the wall eventually, but with that rookie wall. But yeah, he's been all right.
Have there been any sets with both of them on the field in terms of Reddick and Nolan coming off the edges?
Reddick hasn't really done because he's still limited with that groin issue. He was on there. He was practicing most of the time there. They're trying to mix it like last night and stuff like that. But yeah, no, they've been real limited when it comes to that. Now, could that be a rush set potentially? But then I see Smith more as a second unit guy when it comes to that. I see at least work him in there because if you get Reddick on one side, you get Josh Sweat on the other. They've been running a lot of 4-man lines, which I was more 4 than 5, which would kind of shock me a little bit more. But even if you go with the 4-man lines, and then you just run everything else. You have Reddick on the left, you get Fletch and Jordan Davis in the middle right now, and then you have that. Hey, and Sweat on the outside. That's cool. But yeah, they're a lot more 4 than 5. They've decided to use some 5 in the past, so I would be shocked if they didn't bring it back
We
here and
used
there. But yeah,
we used some last year too. I would like to see
oh
that.
yeah,
You know, keep them 5 in line. We have a deep defensive line. You know, deep. We're deep there. So why not use the most of them? You know, have them all out on that football field. Let those guys like Reddick and Sweat, you know, have more one-on-one opportunities to get to that quarterback. Shout out to Big Blue in the building. Deandre says, "Have I got Madden 24 yet? Not yet." Daniel Sports, shout out for you stopping by. E Money, shout out to all you guys. Hit that like. Um, Listen, I want to know how is my guy, because I said this. Jordan Davis is about to change the position of defensive tackle this year. Am I far off from what you see at camp? Does he still look like the guy from last year, or does he look that much more better this year?
he looks a little better in terms of that pass rush because it's still inconsistent in that. But the one thing I say when he's rushing that forward, he's drawing the 2 guys to him, and he's using his strength. And I like he looks a little bit quicker too. So I think that's it's a big difference from what we saw at part. So I think that's encouraging. If I'm looking at anything, I think that's encouraging the way he's done early. There are times there are times when he tries to get his arms out there, but then it gets beaten, and then yeah, he doesn't get as much as effective as strength. But I think overall, I look at him, he's gotten better in that one. He's working on a couple, like 2 3 different rush moves, which he needs to, because you only use your strength so long. Like you just go straight bull rush so long. Like, all right, well, we know it's coming here. I'm trying to beat him that way too. So he's developing in that aspect as well too. Is he going to be the guy that is? To me, you just need him to be like, I know it's his name for the past, but you need him to just be like Ted Washington. You just need a guy that he's just in the middle, becomes a vacuum. You have to account 2, maybe 3 guys in the middle to open everything's up. If he finishes with 2 sacks, but everybody else has like double digits on that line for it, it's successful because he did his job in terms of that. Do I think he's ever going to be a 10 sack guy? Nah, I don't foresee it
No,
myself, but I don't think he's going to be a 10 sack guy. I see
with
him more
all the
5
pressure,
6.
with all the pressure from the outside that everybody got to worry about, the Swicks, the Reddicks, the Nolans, the Brandon Grahams, all that outside pressure that got all them sacks last year. You don't think that he can come in and sneak in a double digit from being 1-on-1? Because
Quickest
you can't double team him all the time. You know, because you're gonna leave Reddick out there, he's gonna just eat you up. You're gonna leave Sweat on 1-on-1, he's gonna eat you up. That's why I feel like the offseason, the way the defense went last year, they might be putting more emphasis on the outsides where it can give him that opportunity to be that guy to get those sacks in the middle.
quickest lines of quarterbacks a straight line. And everyone, because the last thing you want to do is feel uncomfortable, because you get that pressure in the middle. Like the stomach starts feeling upset. Like, oh no, what's going on? I want to live to see another day. So you got to roll out the other. And that's why I think he's that. So I wouldn't be surprised. And most of the times when he goes that, you see the guards take him, and then the center comes over and help after the snap. So I could see that happen a little more, because when you look at your druthers, Fletch is still explosive, but you still have Jordan Davis who's stronger. And if you just go one-on-one Jordan Davis, if I'm an offensive coordinator, no. At least get a chip or something like that to try to draw. That's where I think if they go more 5 line, I think that's where you guys see him even an increase more, because you got to use 2. And if you put, say, Jalen Carter on the right side, Reddick on the left side, you can't slide your line over. You try and go, slide to the right, we got to worry about Reddick. Slide to the left, we got to worry left, we got to worry about Sweat. Well, we can't do it. Let's worry about Carter. No, we can't do that. And then that's where I think you get those matches more. But I think the defensive tackle part, you just need that pressure up. They want to stop that pressure up the middle first.
What about Carter and Davis being able to replace the sacks from Hargrave last year?
That's funny. I talked to Marcus Spears. I did a story on that I posted this past Sunday, and yeah, he said I'll start with him, and then what I do that. He says there's gonna be no drop off at all. He really believes that too, because he thinks, because I like his reason. His reasoning makes sense, because a lot of these guys are playing the same way in college as they do now, and I think it wasn't. I don't think it was a coincidence that they brought in the Georgia defensive coordinator in here for an interview. I know it's probably to get some more intel about these guys and drafting, but I don't think it was I think it's a coincidence they brought him in there to see the scheme and everything else. And you look at a lot of stuff, maybe it's a chance where they use something similar on that one too. Get them used to that, and you just rush with that. So yeah, I can see him getting enough things, especially the second year. I think the second year he could be Well, dominant. For me, a good line for Jordan Davis. Jalen Carter. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this all season. I can know right now. Jordan Davis,
Right.
Jalen Carter, which one is Jalen Davis? But I think Jalen Carter. When you look at what he is, if he gets something like 6 sacks, if he gets about like 10 tackles for loss, to me that's a good season for him.
Oh yeah.
Like, especially for a rookie, because when you look at if he used his what he was trying to do, saying I want to be defensive player of the year, rookie defensive player of the year. Okay, you look at Aaron Donald. I believe he had 9 sacks, 9 or 10 sacks for his rookie year. You look at Sheldon Richardson. The other, it was back-to-back years defensive tackles. Sheldon Richardson had like 3.5. So you're looking at it like, all right, maybe you get somewhere in the middle there, along with the pressure in the back of the defensive tackles, or just him just the impact, just so he bounces out to the outside. I think he'll be all right with that.
Do you think he starts at all this year?
Maybe toward the end. I think they really want to ease you, just especially with a rookie. I'm not going to personally. And look at it. I think they're going to just want to ease him in. Get some feet wet, and maybe we start to see a change if say Jordan Davis, Fletcher Cox somehow like that middle connection is not really doing that well. Then maybe you throw in Jalen Carter into the mix for that. But yeah, I think they're going to just ease those guys in.
Let's go to linebackers. We just added 2 new linebackers, Zach Cunningham and my boys Miles Jack from UCLA, Cali hometown buddy. How are these guys looking? Do you think these are just pieces for competition, or do you think either one of these guys have an opportunity to start?
I know Jack has the name to have it. For me, Cunningham's a sneaky one. I think Cunningham fits into the system very well because you
Mhm.
don't. Neither one is going to be a world beater in coverage. They're not going to be like you're looking like when it comes to being like, wow, you know what? Cunningham, I was like, yeah, they're their pass coverage guys. And it's not going to happen. But I look at what Cunningham did in 2022, and I think 2021, and I look at with the way he flowed to the ball, what was asked of him in that defense, and I think it complements well what you're going to do with Dean. I personally wouldn't be shocked if Jack and Cunningham made the roster and Morrow wasn't on there. If they took 2 or 3, I'd probably take those two in that one too, because I think both of them. I mean, all 3 of them have the ability to play middle and will. I think you got a little bit bigger because if I'm an offensive coordinator right now, if I'm looking at the Eagles, I'm going to run a lot of 11 personnel, maybe some 10, and go. You know what? I'm going to spread you out, run you in the middle, and hope those defensive tackles don't get as much pressure, and then rely on Dean and Morrow right now. And they're not the biggest guys. And last year Morrow had issues when it came to stopping the run. They had a few missed tackles. So I look at if you get especially at Cunningham there, I think you would do a little bit better in that aspect. Overall, the position now, I think you did upgrade. They also needed a veteran presence in there because when you go by, you go look like you had Morrow has 6 years, and then you go down. Sean Bradley's got 4 years. After that, everybody's got like 2 years or less experience. So I think you needed some of that. And we talked about that man match, that system that the side uses. It's a lot of communication, a lot of pre-snap recognition, a lot of knowing. Hey, you got to go there. You got to go there. Okay, you see this. Oh, I see him. He's tipping his split or something like that. Okay, I see he's going this way. I think he needs that having a veteran on there next to Dean. And Dean is pretty smart. He's very aware of what's going on, but to have a veteran who's seen like some of the NFL systems to work with him in conjunction with that, I think that would be able to help him out too. So they're good, smart signings, and you just hope they have something that can play up to their potential in this defense.
Striker said, which one of them is the best coverage linebacker? Is it Dean?
Cunningham is between the 2 of them. Cunningham was because even though Cunningham played in 6 games, I believe he allowed a pass rate of like 91 last year. I mean, in 2021, before he got hurt, his elbow really messed his season up. And Jack allowed, I think it's like, which even though it sounds extremely high, like 80%, if you're a linebacker, if you're an offense, if you're a defense, and you're allowing 8%, is you keep everything in front of you, especially if it's late. If you hope this defense is up late, you just methodically keep everything in front of you. Don't let anything get behind you, and you force that offense to try to methodically move down the field. I can live with that. I really could. So that notion that I would be surprised if this team has been using a lot of big nickel too in practice. So one of those guys may be coming out. Dean may stay in, and you might see a safety next to him, be it Kayvon, Sidney, or what have you, playing next to him anyway. So you see a lot of things, but I think Cunningham's definitely the better one.
Is Dean going to make that jump that we're expecting him to make from what you see so far? Do you think he can do it? Is he going to be a dominant linebacker, or is he going to be another, Singleton or another what's the dude we just let T.J. Edwards type guy where he's getting some tackles. He's no superstar linebacker, but he's a good serviceable linebacker. I really feel like I thought after that red shirt he should come back and be a star this year.
See, I think he's more Edwards, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I really think because when you look around that defense, they built it around to be like a shell. So you got the shell, the front, the one part of the shell, you have defensive line, you got your two cornerbacks, and you got your safeties. And if you're going to, and we see them, they don't want anything to beat. They always talk about explosive plays. I'm not going to be deep. All right, cool. The one thing that, because he hasn't really, and when you look at Dean so far in camp, there hasn't been that moment where you're looking like, wow, the Kobe, that's highlight type. The Kobe, he's been solid. This is solid, but and also you don't really tackle to the ground with the one, so you can't be like, well, I see. Yeah, I saw he showed off his awareness there. He flew to the ball and moved that way. So if he had to ask me right now, I think he's more of a T.J. Edwards, and I'd be cool with that as long as he's putting everybody in the right position and he's calling out the right. He's making the right changes at the line to slow down the offense when it needs to be done.
So the thank you would be let's see, like a Pro Bowl linebacker would be as far fetched right now.
Yeah, I think right now he's a solid guy, solid starter, and I think that's where he's at right now. Solid starter. He's got to be healthy. I mean, he injured that ankle. I mean, first saw him walk on the field, I'm like, oh, I mean, he's going to 10. But then they brought him back out they took his helmet, but at least he stayed on the field to watch. I thought I was like, all right, cool, that's all right. It's not saying he's lingering, but that's the one thing you need him to be on the field in order to stay on there for that.
What about the cornerbacks? We already know about Slay and Bradbury. Do you see these guys, taking a step together as a duel, getting a little bit better? And then who are you looking at that third? I know that Maddox, his toes hurting a lot. They have some other guys rotating in there. Who do you think is going to be the surprising cornerbacks to make the team?
Well, one thing they've been doing is a lot of those guys who had the injuries last year and they're nagging. I mean, like you look at Derek Barnett, you look at Avante Maddox. Those guys, they've limited them. They've been practicing. They've been in there, especially in some team things. We've just been limiting them, not making sure they're trying to aggravate that stuff. So you still have Slay. They're still been good on the outside. I mean, as far those battles between Slay and Bradbury versus Smith, Brown, and even sometimes Goddard. Seeing Bradbury go to Goddard, like they've been fun to watch. It's the chess matches those those guys are going against. It's been a lot of fun. If I look at somebody, the biggest question I have, and when you look at the depth, it's I like Mekhi Garner. I like the way he's been playing so far. He's been really, really physical. He's been running lockstep with some of these receivers, second and third team receivers. Sometimes he gets a little too physical. He's a little bit over trying to jam up too much, and he slipped out behind him. I think that comes with time. Same with Kelee Ringo. Kelee Ringo's been playing decent ball. I mean, you see why they wanted to move up and get him. He's another guy who's been physical and everything too. One thing I want to see with Ringo is I want to see him turn his head back to the ball a little, because that recent practice back on Thursday, he had chances to at least get 2 PBUs, maybe even an interception one, but he just didn't look back. That comes with time. When you see, like, okay, the wide receivers looking back, okay, or the hands go up, go away to the move. It just comes with time. It comes with experience. Mekhi Garner, Ricks hasn't really stood out as yet. He's had his moments. But he hasn't been consistently not apart. So, and then Josh Job's been doing all right. Josh Job's he feels like he has something. Well, he does have something to prove, because in fact they brought all those other cornerbacks like Greedy Williams and everybody. He does have something to prove. He wants to stay around his thing. And he's rising up to the occasion, and he's been playing some good coverage too. So that's a position I would be surprised that and running back, if they know they are going to cut one of these guys. You call out one of those teams like if there's a need somewhere else. They say, you need a safety, you need somewhere else, or what have you. Hey, I got this guy. I got one of these cornerbacks and running backs here. Who heard from the grapevine might be letting somebody else go. Let's swap them, or maybe get like a conditional 7th or whatever, what have you, something like that. But I think the cornerback is deep, and it's going to be. That's another one that's going to be tough to try to go out long term.
I heard McPherson been looking good out there too this year.
Yep, he's been, and I like his versatility in the slot. I thought he's doing all right in the slot. So, and we've seen in the past that, well, Gray was a different defensive coordinator, but we've seen in the past when the first guy that went down on the outside, if Slay was out or Bradbury was nicked up, he's the first guy that went on the outside. So I think he's around. I think he's around as well too. Like, just because of the fact he could play both that, and the position is in defensive backfield, back 7, is very valuable.
What about Greedy though? I haven't even heard no news on him. I was kind of hyped
It's
to hear he came to the team.
it's just like he's been solid. It's been one of those things where it's like he's been all right. He's been all right. Now there's one play he had against AJ Brown where he got handsy. He got flagged. AJ Brown made that catch. Greedy got called for PI. Yeah, he should have been called for PI because it was like you get that's assault. So he's holding back. I'm like, yo, that's assault, man. Like, yo. But you look at like he's been all right. That's the thing with all of them. He's got. It looks like it looks like in this system, especially, and it makes sense. If you jam up, if you throw up timing with these, get these quarterbacks to be real physical at the line. You
Mhm.
give that defensive line a chance to do it. You may have 3.5. Quarterback may have 3.5, 4 seconds to throw stuff. So that's all you need from them.
Yeah, yeah. Who do you think is the favorites though to make it past? I guess we're probably going Slay, Bradbury, Maddox for sure. And then who do you think going to be? What do you think? You think 5 there too, or you think they keep a 6-1?
I think. I think they go 6 because I think you go 10 defensive backs. I think they keep four safeties. So that's the case. Slade, Bradbury, Maddox, McPherson, Job. I think I'll go Garner. I think Garner slips in there.
All right,
I think
you
Garner
like
slips
this
in.
guy? I'm gonna check him out. You like him? You bringing him back up, Gardner.
I think he's gonna flash. I think he's gonna flash from the preseason games and then some of the. And that's the fun thing about trying to find the rosters. Like, all right, who can you try to hide on the who can you keep on the roster? Who can you try to slip through the practice squad? But some of these guys, they're legit. So like, there's going to be at least there's going to be one running back that's going to wind up with another team after it's all said and done. There's going to be about 2 or 3 of these corners that are going to be picked up, and we know it's going to be about 1 or 2 offensive linemen are picked up to go elsewhere.
Yeah. What about the safety position? I heard our boy Kayvon Wallace was getting some first team reps. Say it
There's been
ain't
some.
so, Joe. Say it ain't so. Kayvon Wallace is getting some first team reps, man. How's that looking?
There's a. It's some interesting cornerback combinations that have been used. Like all through OTAs, it's probably tinkering and seeing like, hey, what's going like what they're doing is some of the better offensive combinations. But all through OTAs, beginning of training camp, it's been Terrell Edmonds and Reed Blankenship.
Okay.
1, 2, well, like the 2 started in the back. And then they'll mix in. They'll bring in Cave. They brought Kayvon in initially, some of the big nickel stuff. Then it became Kayvon working with Reed and moving in and out. It's shot like I think he's going to be back. And much as great as I think Kayvon knows this is a year where he needs to do something.
Yeah.
He's going. He's got all this competition at the safety spot, and not only that, he's on his last year of his rookie deal. So you got to show out because you want to get paid again, and not just if you want to stay in Philly, not even just stay in Philly. You want to get a decent contract somewhere else. He needs to because if he gets cut now, and they go look going into your rookie deal, somebody waves you pick it up or whatever. You're all right, you're there, but
Yeah.
then become the 1 year guy here and there. So is there a shot for the roster? Yeah. Do I see him being a starter here long term? I think Sidney Brown's gonna be worked in eventually before he does. But
I heard he
he's been
got some
playing. Yeah,
reps too. Sidney
yeah,
Brown. Does he look the
he's in
part?
that. He's gotten better. I mean, he first started out. His first couple practices was like, all right, you jumped the wrong route. You jumped the wrong route, and that went to. But he's learning from his mistakes, and that's what you just want him to feel comfortable enough that he can. We all know a ball. He has 10 interceptions during your career in Illinois. We all know he's a ball hawk. So if you get him just to at least know, like, okay, that's who I got. That's who he has. All right, I'm going to jump this route here. I think you like that. I know the team's high on him, and they're hoping that way too. They're going to try. They just don't want to throw too much at him too soon, so he's overloaded and then starts becoming confidence issues and all that stuff. So he'll be all right. He'll be all right. They'll work him in just like they did with Carter. Slowly work him in.
Do you think he'll be the Reed and Edmonds starting
I,
season?
I think it's gonna be. Yep, I think it's gonna be those 2 starting, and then sprinkle out a little Brown. Okay, depending on the matchups they have on a week. Like when they play the Patriots, I can see it being more of a cave. If they keep Kayvon, I think Kayvon will get more of that because besides Devontae Parker right now, who's the only one that really is being a decent receiver for the Patriots right now, like wide receiver wise, I think he can get away with worrying about just the tight ends and everything else that in that aspect.
Nice. So you went to the open practice yesterday, right? How was it compared to last year? I don't know if you went to last year too. How was it compared to
Yep.
last year? And what's your favorite part of the open practices for the fans?
Well, for me, I think it's to see 50,000 people in the middle of a summer night on a Sunday night at 7 o'clock. You're like, are you guys degenerates like us? How are you lose this? You guys
Right?
it's fun, but it was a fun atmosphere, and they were in mid-season form because you had one guy in section 115 down there with the Cowboys towel, waving that around. I got booed. There's another guy I saw towards the in the sections closer towards the Eagles sideline in a Justin Tuck uniform. He was like booed. They beat, and they were going to. Nobody was throwing punches or anything else, but it was interesting to see that stuff. But everybody was rallying. Everybody was living and dying on some of those past plays and everything else. So yeah, it's fun to see everybody back. It helps make you feel like it's one step closer to a regular season beginning, and it helped a good cause. They raised tickets. It was $10 a ticket, but all that money was going to the Eagles Autism Foundation. So they raised a lot of money and helped them out.
50,000. They got a lot of tickets. So, whoo,
Yep. And plus the 50/50s were
money.
making money. Yeah, so they did all right.
Okay, he said, I got a good question. Nobody's asking about. Are we going to see Juju versus Bradbury fight week 1?
Nah, because Bradbury is like one of those chill characters. He's not going to let you get now. I can see if they win that game and he's getting picks again or something like that for it. I think something might show up on social media afterwards,
Right?
or that but to it. But nah, I don't think we'll see a fight. If anything, I think somebody else, a couple other guys might get in their faces for Bradbury. Bradbury's like the guy's just like, nah, man, it was next play. Like he's the real chill one. I can see Slay getting in his face and talking a little bit more, but
Yeah, you
nah,
see what
nah.
Bradbury did to you?
Yeah, yeah. Like, yeah, I think it's gonna be one of those. Because even then, last year when we were in the locker room talking after games, and Bradbury's having a couple of games, you see Slade will come over. They got the locker next to each other, and they see like, tell them what the Giants do. Tell them what the Giants did to you for not starting. And you see like, you keep fighting for it. No, I tell you, man, the Giants made a mistake. I can see it being one of those things where it's like, Juju, you want to call that man out? Juju, you want to call that man out? Look what he did to you. So yeah, so
Yeah.
I do expect him to be a little more amped up. I think Bradbury will be a little amped up and ready to play the game, but I don't think he'll be throwing hands.
All right, one more before I get you out of here, Chris. Do you think the Eagles will be better this year than they were last year? And how do you see that record going? We were 14-3 last year. My personal opinion is we got better. I know the schedule got a little bit harder, but did it really get harder? We were better than most of those teams last year anyway. So I look at us going 15-2 this year. And we were 14-3 last year. So do you think the team got better, one? And do you think we're going to be around the same 14-3 record this year?
It's a better roster, that's for sure, but that schedule is tough for that. And I look at that second half where it's the gauntlet, and that gauntlet's going to be rough. So I think they've actually finished 12-5. I think they finished as the one thing, and the key is going to be, I think, for them to be the one seed, they have to get a split with the Cowboys. 2-0 against Cowboys, obviously, yeah, you're sitting
That's what we're
pretty.
going
You're
for.
very good. 1-1, I think it's more realistically 1-1. I know everybody's down the Commanders. That's a team to me where I think they sink in as a 7. I really do. I think they have all the pieces. They just need a game man. Offensively, they just need a game manager. That's all I need. Because you look at those wide receivers, you look at the defensive line and everything else. I think they can sink in as a 7. So you just need to at least, even if you split, even the same thing like last year, if you split with them, that's fine with them. It's going to be division is going to be the main tiebreaker. I think the Eagles are the one seed with a 12-5 record. You get that bye, and then who knows? I really think they're going to face the 49ers again. Now, ask me what that game, the outcome game. If I had to lean right now today, I think revenge is a factor. I put that in there, but it depends on how well the Hells go through with that, with the injuries and all that other stuff. But
Quarterback.
I know they don't have a quarterback. They don't have one, but yeah, I know. I'll put it this way: if Sam Darnold or Trey Lance is your quarterback in that game, yeah, they're winning, and I think they roll in that game because Sam Darnold. But yeah, I think there's some behind the scenes blood that blood between the two, and yeah, I think they're taking it personal, and yeah, I
One
mean
game I
they'll be
want to
best.
see us do is beat the stinking Chiefs. Whether
Oh,
it's in the Super Bowl next year or whether it's during the season next year. I'm tired of Reed beating us. I love Big Red. I love, they're my second if I had to have a second favorite team, they'd probably be it just because of Big Red, what he done for us in Philadelphia. But I hate the fact that every time we play these guys, he beat us. I am done with it. Like the Super Bowl, I was like, yes, we're gonna beat them at halftime. I was like, Big Red going down, yeah, and then they come back and win the game, man. Like that's not cool. So I want to beat them. And they're like, well, do you want to beat them more in the Super Bowl or the regular season? I go, I want to beat them in the regular season just to get it over with, and they don't make it to the Super Bowl. How about that? That's how I want to see it. I don't want to play them twice. I just want to beat them next year, and at least for this year, we can be undefeated against KC and Andy Reid and them boys.
That's gonna be a tough game. The game. Here's the sneaky game that I'm looking at. I'm like, it's not the Jets. It's the Dolphins. Dolphins got a lot of speed on the outside, and I still remember those joint practices. They could be a problem. They could be a problem for Eagles. Like the Jets game. Yeah, the Jets are good. Jets got a lot better. You have Aaron Rodgers, so you get them back to back. I think they could beat the Jets. But it's something about that speed that they have. Tyreek Hill, I know they got Tyreek Hill. I don't think that speed is different. It's different.
They're definitely top three. Because I say AJ and Smitty. I'm biased. They're probably the best duo in the league. But I got Waddle and Tyreek Hill right there at number 2. And then you go with Chase and whoever Boyd or whichever other one, Higgins, whichever one you want to do with Cincinnati. So yeah, those guys are badass. Like, what did he have? Like almost 1,500 yards last year for Tyreek Hill, and then you got Waddle over 1,000. Double-digit touchdowns. Like those boys are bad. It all matters if Tua stays healthy too.
That's
as well.
The big thing. Yep.
And then they did it with Tua not being there last year too. A lot of games, like Tua wasn't there a lot of games. They were still doing their thing out there. Those type of receivers that you just gotta give them the balls in their hands. Once they got them in their hands, they're gonna do damage. And I think that's kind of the same way with our receivers too, as well. You get the ball in AJ's hand or Smitty's hand, they're gonna do their thing because they're just that good. But man, that is gonna be a good one, man. That's gonna be a tight one. We're gonna be wearing our Kelly Greens. Did you get you some Kelly Green merchandise yet?
I can't, man. I'm a reporter. Nah, we guys right down the middle. Right down the middle. I gotta be objective. Cannot do any of that shirt. Can't do nothing. I'm not wearing it. It's
not with the logo on it, but just like a nice little shirt.
Nope. It got to a point where I had some green stuff even before I had this job. I like the shirts and bones. Can't do the green like when I'm reporting there. I can't do that. I want to be viewed as like a team reporter thing. Nope. I want objective right down the middle. So no Eagles logos, no Kelly Green. Nope. What happened?
Do you cover any other team?
No, but I'm still there. Yeah, no, that's it. Nope. I gotta be objective. That's my job. I gotta be objective. I can't be the homer. I can't do anything else. I gotta be objective and give everybody like, hey, this is what I honestly think is. I can't go, oh, it's for a touchdown, yay! Yeah. There are people that I hear going like, ooh, they cheer at the press box because they make sure they tell you because I'm part of PFWA, the Pro Football Writers Association. There's a saying everything. There is no cheering in the press box. None.
Oh.
None. So you cannot. If you hear cheering, we'll all give you a look. Nope. If we see you cheering, you get the dirty look because it shows like, nah, I can't. Nope, that's not here. There's some guys that are. There's been a couple times you're looking like, oh no, I can't. No, we got to be objective.
And you get in trouble.
Oh yeah, you can be kicked out. You can be kicked out. Yeah, it's a working press box. You can't be a fan. You're there to work. You're there to be objective. Even though you may have team, like you'll hear some team staff, you'll hear them cheering, and go like, yeah, and even then they're like, it's uncomfortable. It's like, nah, I'm not supposed to be really cheering, but they're allowed to because they're part of the team staff. Reporters, nope, no cheering.
High fives, like,
nope. We're all objective. We all do, and that's just for everybody here. Like some TV people may be different, but yeah, when it comes to the writers and everything else, nope, we don't cheer, we don't do anything else. Focus on the thing. Focus on what happened. Write our stuff. We don't root for anybody or anything else. Nope, we're there. Oh yeah, we watched the game. Oh yeah, we watched the game. Like we there. At all. Yeah, all we do is we look there. We see what happens. If there's something that's close, you see us looking. You'll see a bunch of. If you ever look at the press box, whoever's sitting there, you see us watching the play on there, and it's like it's something close. Like we're trying to get a replay because we'll see it, but there's a 7-second delay sometimes. So then we'll look and try to see it, and then you're hoping, okay, no, there's no hurry up office, so you try to see. It gets fun. It gets fun. But yeah, no cheering for us whatsoever.
Hey, thanks again for coming on, Chris. I don't hold you up, man. You gave me more than my time. Go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you at and what you're going to be up to soon.
Sure. If you go look at X, or the artist formerly known as Twitter, whatever they call it now,
What
if you
is
go
it?
to Instagram, it's I gotta be good. I can't say my real thoughts about the whole thing. But when you look at the artist formerly known as Twitter, X, Threads, Instagram, follow me at C Franklin News. You can follow my work on nj.com/Eagles. All the work's there doing observations, transaction news, and everything else, analysis, and everything else. Find me there.
All right, buddy. Well, thanks again for coming on. You guys hit that like on the way out. Fly, Eagles, fly. Till next time, this BG, Chris, and we out. Peace. Oh.